Hi everyone, I'm Joanna, a yoga instructor at Exhale Studio, and I'd like to go through a brief yoga practice for anxiety. Begin by sitting comfortably on the floor. We'll start with a breathing exercise seated. Take an inhale, and then take a long, slow exhale back out. Inhale. And then a long, slow exhale back out. One more time, inhale. And then a long, slow exhale back out. And then return to your natural pace of breathing. By lengthening the exhale, we're calming down the body and some of the responses that anxiety can trigger within us. So let's get started on our yoga practice. Begin by lying flat on the mat in constructive rest. So knees are hip distance apart, feet flat on the ground. And we're going to wiggle our feet to the outer edges of the mat, so a little bit wider than hip distance. And we'll begin to gently windshield wiper the legs. So exhale to come down, inhale to center. Exhale down, inhale center. Exhale down, inhale center. One more time, exhale down, inhale back up to center. From here, we're going to wiggle the feet back to about hip distance apart. So knees, hips, and feet are parallel to each other. We're going to place our hands down by our sides, palms pressing into the mat or the ground. We're going to lift the hips up, move them a couple of inches to the left, place them back on the mat, bring the knees into the chest, and then let them roll over to the right side. Bring the arms to a T, or you can keep them in cactus goddess arms. As you breathe here, release the hips to the right side, and you can even gaze over your left shoulder. Take a few breaths here in this supine twist. After the next breath, bring the legs back up to center, arms by your side, and straighten out the hips. We'll do this on the opposite side. Palms pressing into the mat beside our hips. Lift the hips, shift them to the right a couple inches, drop them to the mat, knees into the chest, and then release the knees to the left. Arms coming to a T, or bent at the elbows in goddess or cactus arms. You can even gaze over the right shoulder and breathe naturally here in this gentle supine twist. After the next breath, return to center, lifting the knees. Bring the arms by your side and square the hips back to center. We're going to hug the knees into the chest. You can remain stationary here, or you can rock gently from side to side, massaging the low back. And then come to stillness, place the feet back on the mat, raise the right arm up overhead, gently roll to your side, and carefully lift yourself back up. And we'll come into tabletop or all fours. This can also be done seated as well. So we're pressing the tops of our feet into the mat. We're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, round the spine. One more time. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. And exhale, round the spine for cat-cow pose. From here, we'll bring the big toes to touch. Spread the knees a little bit wider apart. Sit the hips back and down and rest the forehead on the mat. As you breathe here in child's pose, allow the air to fill in the back of the lungs and allow the ribs to expand behind you. On the next breath, gently bring yourself back up. Separate the big toes, allow the knees to come back to hip distance apart. We're going to walk the hands a palm's distance in front of us, and we're going to transition to standing through downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Pedal the feet, the knees can remain bent. Bring the heels to stillness, gaze forward, bend the knees, and take as many steps as you need to walk the feet up to the hands. Coming into your forward fold, we're going to take a deep knee bend, place the hands on the hips, and come up to stand in mountain pose, Tadasana. From here, we'll do some gentle sun breathing. Be sure that the crown of the head is reaching upward. Tuck the tailbone slightly behind you. Fingertips long by your sides. Feet just about hip distance apart. We're going to inhale, arms come up. Exhale, back down. Nice, long, slow exhale. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, slowly down. Inhale, arms up. Do your best to fill the belly with the air. And then exhale, long and slow, back down. Forward folding can help with anxiety. So we'll take a couple of half vinyasas. Come towards the front of your mat. Center is all right as well. We're going to stand in Tadasana. We're going to inhale, arms up like we just did. Exhale, fold forward with a flat back. Knees can remain slightly bent. Inhale, lift the chest, bend the knees halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Keep the knees slightly bent as you inhale with a flat back, up to stand, and then exhale, Tadasana. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift the chest, bend the knees. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reverse dive up with a flat back. And then exhale, come back to Tadasana. We're going to come back to sit, and we'll do some supine as well as seated poses. So in order to transition, feel free to just sit right back down. If you'd like a transition from standing to seated, we're going to take that vinyasa, inhale up, exhale, fold forward, inhale, lift halfway, and then press your hands into the mat. Walk your feet back to downward dog, and then release the knees, untuck the toes, and we'll swing the legs back around. From here, we're going to sit in our staff pose. So we're maintaining a nice long spine. We're going to bend both knees, and then we're going to gently let the knees fall out to the side. We can stay right here, or you can begin to inhale for length in the spine.
And hinge from the hips to slowly fold forward over the legs, rounding the spine when you can't hinge the hips any further. Rest the arms on your feet, on the mat. And again, breathe into the back of the lungs, expanding those back ribs. If you're seated, you can remain up here and just breathe a nice inhale and a long, slow exhale back out. After the next breath, using your hands, gently lift the knees back up, straighten out the legs, flex the feet, slightly internally rotate the legs. If you need, keep the knees bent. You can also prop your hips up on a household blanket or a pillow, a throw pillow. And we're going to take a nice forward fold seated. We'll inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hinge from the hips. And then begin to round the spine, folding over the legs. Hands should be grabbing onto the feet, on the shins. If you're up here, just remain in this position with your hands folded on your legs. Take a few breaths here. And on the next inhale, slowly walk your hands back up, stacking the vertebrae, coming back up to sit. We're going to come to lie down again on the mat. So shift your hips forward just a bit. Knees are bent again. Feet flat on the mat. We're going to take a moment here to set up our feet parallel and our knees parallel to our hips. We're going to take that twist again that we had in the beginning. We're going to inhale, the hips come up. Exhale, drop the hips down slightly to the left. Release the breath and hug the knees into the chest. Let them fall to the right. Arms come to a T. Gaze can be over the left shoulder. And in this twist, be mindful of the inhale as well as a long, lengthened, slow exhale, releasing the air in the lungs and the belly through this twist. After the next breath, lift the legs back up, bring the arms by your side, center the hips. We'll take the supine twist on the other side again. We're going to lift the hips, gently bring them over to the right, drop them, knees to chest, release the legs to the left, arms coming to a T, or they can be bent like before. If you'd like a gentle gaze over the right shoulder. As you inhale, be mindful of exhaling nice and long and slow. Releasing the body in this gentle supine twist. After the next breath, gently lift the legs back up. Bring the arms by your side, center the hips. We'll bring the knees back into the chest. We can stay here. We can gently rock from side to side, massaging the low back. And then we'll come to stillness. Release the legs long, arms by your sides, and release the entire body for a brief moment in Shavasana. Gently float the eyes closed. Relax the muscles of the face. Slowly scan the body from the crown of the head, down through the neck, releasing the shoulders and arms, allowing the torso and hips to be supported by the ground, following down through the legs, the feet and toes, as you come into Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing. As you take an inhale, remember to take that nice, long, slow exhale back out. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Gently bend one knee and then the other, placing the feet flat on the mat. Carefully raise your right arm back overhead and gently roll to your right side, pausing for just a moment. With the help of both your palms, straighten the left leg and carefully lift yourself up and come back into that comfortable seated position. Keep the eyes floated closed. Take a slight bow of the chin. If you'd like, sometimes chanting can be a release of tension and anxiety. So we'll end with the sound of Om. Take a slight bow of the chin. Inhale. Palms together, hands at heart center. Om. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace. I thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me in practicing yoga for anxiety. I greatly appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that it brings some benefits to you.